Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today is Friday, August 3rd, 2020. Today we're going to be working on Module 2, Lesson 7, and we're going to be applying all the concepts that we've been learning the last couple of lessons. So let's talk about our big goal. Our big goal is to get an 85 on our annual module that we're going to take next Friday. Now, here are the materials that you need for your lesson in the video. You need your book number 2 and your book number 3. You're going to need one pencil, one quarter, one penny, a crayon, and any piece of paper that you can use to measure. So make sure you pause the video right now and you gather all the materials. Let's review our daily expectations. You're expected to sit total times, to have all the materials ready in park, that you participate by doing your work, that you always go back to the channels for any clarifying questions, that you always use your hand icon when you have a question, so make sure you raise up your hand. Remember, there's a lot of students, so we need to make sure we know who is talking, so use that. You stay on mute. And the last one, only unmute yourself when you're calling. Keep on logging into Hotspot because we want to meet all our goals. And today we track in our agenda. So make sure you're on track, boys and girls. Our objective for today, by the end of the lesson, I will measure and compare lengths using standard metric units and non-standard metric units. Your turn to read the objective. So let me tell you what that means, that today, by the end of the lesson, we're going to measure with some objects that we don't normally measure, and we're going to measure with a ruler. Oh, Miss Bocanegra forgot that. That's another material that you need for today's lesson. You need your ruler. Now let's go over what are we going to learn? Well, we're going to talk about what an endpoint is. By now, you should know that an endpoint is where something begins or where something ends. Estimate. And today we're going to use the word estimate because we're measuring in a non-traditional way. So we're going to estimate the distance of a line. Now, a hash mark is the marks on a ruler. And we also make hash marks every time we measure. Now, we need to know what a centimeter is because a centimeter is a standard unit and we're using the ruler. And the ruler is a tool that we use to measure length. But what is length? Length is the distance from one end to the other of a shape. Now, we're not going to be using a meter today, but that's another standard unit. And how are we going to do that? Here are the steps that we need to take today in order to be successful. Well, number one, today we're going to be measuring with a quarter, with a penny, and we're going to write the length. And then we're going to measure with our actual ruler. And the last step is that we're going to write a comparison number sentence. Boys and girls, comparison number sentence is another word for subtraction because we're comparing two things. Well, this and this, I'm comparing them. So let's start. So remember, boys and girls, what I do, you do. I want you to get a piece of paper ready. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds to take out your crayon and measure with a quarter. So first, get the crayon, 10 seconds, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. You should have your crayon ready. Now we're going to measure the crayon using the quarter. So I'm going to stop the video really quick and make it bigger. So every time I measure, I'm going to put my unit, which this time is the quarter, and I'm going to make sure it starts where the mark, at the end point. I put the quarter. Make sure you hold your pencil so it won't move. I put the quarter and I make a hash mark at the beginning and I make a hash mark at the end. Then I make the hash mark and move. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do that. I move my quarter and then I make another hash mark. And let's move it together, boys and girls. And let's do it again. And I stop. Look at this, boys and girls. Look at the crayon. The measurement of the crayon is not standard. It doesn't stop there. It's between this hash mark and this hash mark. But I look at it and I notice that it stops right here, which means it's closer to this hash mark. So I'm going to make sure I label the hash marks now to know the length of the crayon. When I go to my first one, what number do I write here, boys and girls? Yes, 0. Great job. Then I write the number 1. Then I write the number 2. I write the number 3. And then I write number 4. So we can say that my crayon is about 4 quarters, boys and girls. That's the length of my crayon. So I can say the crayon is about 4 quarters, right? That's the length of the crayon. Now I'm going to put my pencil to the side. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. And I want you to take out your pencil. 5 seconds to get your pencil. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I want you to measure it with your quarter. We do exactly the same thing, boys and girls. First thing I do is hold my pencil. Then I put my measuring tool, which is the quarter. I'm going to put it and I'm going to make a hash mark at the end point, and then I start doing it. End of the quarter, and I make a hash mark and I move. What I do, you do, boys and girls. Hash mark and move. Hash mark and move. I'm going to go all the way until I stop measuring the pencil. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to move my quarter. Now I have to label each hash mark. What goes over here, boys and girls? Yes, terrific. The number 0 goes here. Then I'm going to label all my hash marks to figure out the length of the pencil, measuring with quarters. Now, like I told you, the quarters is not exact unit. So let's look at this pencil. I'm going to make a little mark right here. And I notice that the length of the pencil is between these two numbers, but it's closer to the number 7 than the number 8. So we can say that the pencil is about 7 quarters. So I'm going to write it right here. My pencil is about 7 quarters. Okay, boys and girls, what I want you to do now is flip your paper, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, let's start measuring, boys and girls. I'm going to hold my crayon. I put the pencil and I mark, the end mark, and I go. Move, mark, and go. Mark, and go. Now let's label it because I'm done measuring. What number goes here, boys and girls? Yes, 0. The first one is always a 0. From here to here is the number 1. From here to here is the number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, this is not a standard unit, so it doesn't stop it specifically there. So, let me see. This stops right here. This crayon is between the number 4 and 5. So what can I say about the crayon? We can say that the crayon is about 4 pennies. Yes, thank you. Now we're going to take our penny and measure our pencil just like we did with the other ones. 5 seconds to gather the pencil. And let's start measuring, boys and girls. I go first hash mark where the pencil starts. March doesn't go 1. Hash mark and go. Hash mark and go. March and go. Hash mark and go, and I keep on going all the way until I stop. Okay, I stop. Let's label the pencil. What number goes here? Yes, 0. Label all the way. Now remember, this is not a standard unit. It's between the number 9 and 10. Since it's between the 9 and 10, but you can see that it's closer to the 9, so the pencil is about 9 pennies. Well, let's look at the measurements, boys and girls. Look at the measurements right here. Both from the first one, it was about 4 quarters and 4 pennies. That one was a little tricky. But let's look at specifically to the pencil. Why are these measurements different? I want you to think about it. Why do you think they were different? Great job. If you said because the coins are different size, you're absolutely correct. So kiss your brain. Now I want you to think this. Why does the size of my coin matter? Why, boys and girls? I'm going to tell you why. You can fit more pennies than more quarters along the item that you're measuring. So what does it tell you about the measurement and the unit? So look at the quarter and look at the penny. It tells us that if a small unit size, you get bigger numbers. So look at this. When I measure with pennies, my number is going to be bigger than when I measure with my quarter. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to measure again, but this time we're going to measure using our ruler. We're going to measure the pencil and the crayon. When you are measuring, I want you to be thinking this time, what do you notice when I measure with my centimeter? So think about it. And let's start. 5 seconds to get the ruler and the pencil. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have my crayon. I'm going to hold it. I get my centimeter ruler. And I am going to touch the 0. I make my first hash mark. Give me a second. Here's my pen. So what I do, you do. So here's the first hash mark. Then I make another hash mark. Every centimeter, I'm making a hash mark, boys and girls. Since I'm using the ruler, I don't have to use the mark and go strategy. It's my turn to label the hash marks. So what number goes here? Yes, remember 0. Great job. I start labeling because the distance from here to here is 1. And it keeps on going. So we know that the length of the crayon is not about. This one is an actual measurement. The crayon is 9 centimeters. I can say that fact because I use my ruler, and the ruler is a standard unit, boys and girls. Now I'm going to get my pencil. First thing, when I get my pencil, I label it at the 0. I make my first hash mark. Now I know that some of you like to just look at the number, and it's okay, but the purpose that we are doing the hash marks is because we're practicing using non-standard. I stop. Now I'm gonna start labeling my hash marks. Row 1, 2, 3, and we keep on emphasizing that the first hash mark is 0. Right here. Now I can say the pencil is actually 18 centimeters, boys and girls. I told you to really think about this question. And it's, what do you notice about the measurement of the object when you use a centimeter ruler? Are you ready? What did you notice? I'm going to hear some answers. Yes, that the measurement for each object are the same, even if the ruler looks different. And what's about the same about all the rulers? Boys and girls, all the rulers have centimeters, and the centimeters are all the same size. So this is a very important question. Why is it more efficient? And another way for efficient is, why is it better to measure with a ruler, with a centimeter ruler, instead of coins? I want you to think about it. I want to hear some answers. Yes, all the centimeters are the same. And we all know how big a centimeter is. Boys and girls, now we're going to apply what we just learned. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get book number 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now that you're in book number 2, open it to page 87. You have 10 seconds to do that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Immediately, boys and girls, make sure you write your name, the date, and the goal. Remember, the goal equals to Eureka, and it's a 100. Okay, boys and girls, let's read the instructions. Now, the instructions say one thing, but we're going to use the coins that we use in class because this was intended to be using in the classroom, but we're not in the classroom for some situation that is out of our hands. So it says, measure each set of lines with one small paper clip, but we're going to cross that off and put with a quarter. And the other one, we leave it fine. Everywhere it says paper clips, you're going to write the word quarter. You have 10 seconds to do that. we're going to do number 1. So what I do, you do. So make sure you write quarter, quarter, quarter here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Make sure you get your quarter and go. Ready? So I make a hash mark, go, move forward, hash mark, and go, hash mark, and go, hash mark, and go. Now my turn to label the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do that. So line A is about how many quarters? Remember what I taught you? If you notice that it's between two numbers, I go to the one that is the closest. So could I say 3 or 4? If you said 4, that's right. So write the number 4 here. Now let's measure line B using the quarter again. I start and I make my first hash mark and go. Ready? I put, what number goes here? Yeah, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Look at this. This is between the numbers 2 and 3, but I notice that it's closer to the number 2, so I'm going to put a number 2 here. Now I'm done measuring with the quarters. Now I can get my ruler and measure it. When I measure with my ruler, I always start with the number 0. I put 0 here, and then it stops at the number 9. That was line A. Now let's measure line B together. Put a 0, and it stops at number 6, because it stops right here, boys and girls. Where the end mark goes, I look at that number, and that's the number 6. I'm done measuring, so let's read the next question. Question C says, line B is about how many quarters shorter than line A? So I told you we were going to write a comparison problem. So I write line B is 2 quarters, line A is 2 quarters. So I'm comparing, and I will write a subtraction problem that says 4 minus 2 equals 2. So line A is 2 quarters shorter than line B. And it's about. Now, line A is about how many centimeters longer than B? So let's look at line A. Line A is 6 centimeters. Line B is 6 centimeters. So I'm writing a comparison. Every time I write a comparison, I always start with the big number because I'm subtracting. I'm starting with a whole. 9 minus 6 equals to 3. So line A is about 3 centimeters longer, boys and girls. And we just finished solving the first problem. So we're going to work some problems in class, but this is what you need to submit by the end of class, boys and girls. Make sure you submit book number 3, page 65 and 66, and you're going to work on problems number 1, number 2, and number 4. Make sure you submit the picture and put it on Teams. Thank you for your hard work. We'll see you at 12:55 in the live session. Make sure you are on time, and when you log in, you mute yourself. Thank you for everything, boys and girls.